Well, yeah. So that's the thing that I love doing the most in all of the shamanic work. I think the one-on-one work as a shaman, spirit work, soul retrievals, healing work, sound healing, it's lovely. But the thing that I enjoy the most is the sight whispering, because I learn so much. And I think that what I've learned over the years is the name Eagle Heart is because there's room in my heart for anything. I think I can find a place in my heart to understand, accept, listen, honor, and that doesn't matter. So there we are in this van moving up the hill toward Adam's calendar. And typically for me, sight whispering, my feet are on the ground and I tune in. So I consciously tune in, introduce myself, seek permission, state my intention, and then it sort of unfolds. Well, there we are in the van trundling along, and suddenly I look out the window and there's a procession of people walking along, probably about 100 people walking alongside the van.
I remember now you're bringing, I just suddenly remember as we were driving up there, I remember you sharing that with me, and it was like, oh my God, they're here. What Greater Mutwa told me about this site is true. You just picked it up. And at that stage, you didn't know about the Greater Mutwa story, right?
No.
You see, that's beautiful corroboration and shamanic and spiritual corroboration of a different story from Greater Mutwa, a great shaman himself. And what he told me about the ancient site, about these ceremonies being held there for thousands of years. And here we go. You didn't know about that. And next thing you see, this procession of ancient people. Carry on. I just love this. I love this.
Yeah. So I was completely taken because that doesn't typically happen for me. As I say, it's typically stating a clear intention, feet on the ground. So to be in a vehicle and see this parade happening alongside us I was like, okay, where are we? So you had explained a little bit about, the birth of man and why it's Adam's calendar. And so I was a bit prepared, but nothing like that there would be this ancient people's procession. So I think the next thing that I really remember of that experience at Adam's calendar was you taking us over to a little area, and you said that women often are attracted to this area. That there's something about birth, there's something about gestation, there's something about pregnancy, that a lot of females find this area interesting. And I'm sitting there listening to you. And again, on this side, there's this incredibly tall figure standing there, like incredibly tall, like 8 foot high, 9 foot, something really high, tall person standing there and just standing. And I remember saying to you, there's a really tall character right here who might want to share something. And you said,
I remember now.
What?
Yeah.
And then he introduced himself as a part of the genetic, he was a fertility like a fertility midwife, I think was what he described his position as. And he proceeded to explain exactly how the impregnation went, how the genetic engineering worked, how delicate the operation was, and that this particular place was powerful because of the magnetic properties of this place. And then you said, well, there's all hematite. This is all just hematite in here, this whole foundation. So it was kind of this fun thing of going backwards and forwards between what he was saying, which would trigger something to you, go, oh, well, yes. And then he would say something and you'd say, well, yes, and that was kind of this beginning of, but it's partially, I think, that there's a part of me that is just fascinated. And I listen to this and think, okay, sure. I mean, I don't come in, as you say, with I don't come in to prove anything. I come in to listen. And
and that's awesome. And I want to, through these chats that we have, I want you to share with us all the things that you've discovered. I know you've written down pages and pages and pages of information. Hopefully we can go through as much of that as we can without getting boring or repetitive. But it's interesting that you bring up the hematite, because there's just hematite all over that top of Adam's calendar. I've picked up many little pieces of it. But what I found fascinating is there's a form of hematite called botryoidal hematite. It's like this bubbly hematite that turns silvery. The surface of it turns like silver. It's literally like you've taken shiny silver paint, or it almost looks like mercury, like solid mercury. It's that silver, and you've painted this bubbly hematite with this silvery thick paint, and it's called botryoidal hematite. And it is at that place, I don't know if you remember this, where this birthing took place, that you have this Anunnaki figure share that information with you. It is in that place that we found a piece of botryoidal hematite about that big. That just blew my mind. You don't just find botryoidal hematite lying around. You know, they mine it. It's very, very valuable and very precious. And they go to great lengths and costs to find and mine botryoidal hematite. And there is a piece just lying there in that area that this birthing and fertilization process of the Anunnaki and the creation of this new species apparently took place. So that is not a coincidence. That is a very specific, something happened there, and I don't know yet why and how it's there. But what it does tell me is that that the entire Adam's calendar site, or Inzalo Yelanga, as Creator Mutwa called it, is a very powerful, energetic site. It creates huge amounts of energy, electromagnetic fields, sound frequencies, and so forth. And possibly that has something to do with actually converting the hematite to this other form of botryoidal hematite. That's just what's going through my mind. I don't know what the exact process is, and that needs to be investigated. That's one of the things we'll be investigating with the new Antiquities Research Institute, by the way, and we'll come back to that.
Yes, I mean, what are those magnetic properties? What does that do to the human body? What, because what they explained on that day, this what's that? What's the word IVF? What's it called when you pay the money to try to get pregnant?
In vitro fertilization.
IVF. Yeah. So he was like running the IVF clinic, was kind of the joke that we had about.
Right.
He was
and that's, it's really important that you say that. We think we're an advanced species. We think we have the advanced modern technology and medicine and all that, and we call it IVF, and we think it's really advanced. Well, ancient advanced civilizations would have known about IVF, and they would have used it themselves. So they would have used it long before us, and especially if they had knowledge of genetic and DNA manipulation and cloning, they would have been doing it thousands, if not hundreds of millions of years before us. We just rediscovered it. So this is not something that we should be surprised by. It's just something that happens.
Well, I've been in the last 5 years, I've been trying to listen to people who do new translations of the ancient Sumerian cuneiform stories, because scholars are reinterpreting it, they're retranslating stuff. And I just heard one today that was looking back at, and you'll know all these terms better than me, the creation story that is in
the Sumerian creation story. Yes, the Enuma Elish.
Thank you, that one. And so it was today, I was just listening to a new scholar that's had a go at this, and I was just going, oh my God, that is exactly what they told me that day 5 years ago. It
was Adam's calendar.
So the new translations of the Sumerian stuff is saying that the Anunnaki they're saying somewhere between, it's either 8 women, 7 women, 14 women, the number changes, but they were impregnated to carry the seeds of this new creature. Yeah. And that's what he was saying, was that it was a very delicate situation. And what they were doing is trying to combine the Neanderthal semen with the Anunnaki female to create this hybrid worker. I think the other thing that's interesting is that in all the work that I've done and listening to the Anunnaki over all these years, they never refer to us as the humans. They always call us the creature.
Yes.
I always say the creature was And in my brain, I'm saying, wonder why they ever use that word. Well, today I heard, again, in this translation, that they referred to the offspring of this fertilization technique as the creature that was created, and that the word translates to the creature.
And that's exactly what Anton Parks calls it in his books as well, in his research, and his translations. And Anton Parks also, Adamu is the creature. That means, according to his research. And for those people that don't know Anton Parks, it's really important to discover him. He's a French researcher, translator of the Sumerian texts, in my opinion, the best by far, the best that's ever been in our presence, or around or alive. He has a deep understanding of the Sumerian language and the Sumerian texts than anyone else come across in all my personal research. And the good thing is that he's still young. I think in his mid to late 40s, Anton Parks. Yeah. And he translates the Sumerian language in ways that very few people are capable of. And his very clear, repetitive information is that the Adamu is the beast or the creature or the animal that was created for whatever purposes that the Anunnaki needed. Yep. So John, I want to come back to your impressions of the procession. So we went to Adam's calendar, and I know we just you brought this up. So obviously Adam's calendar is a really important site, and for those people that don't know, Adam's calendar at this stage remains the oldest working megalithic sun calendar on Earth. And it is highly important for many, many reasons. One of them is that it was most likely the place where humanity was actually created, where that cloning, fertilization, insemination process took place that the Anunnaki worked towards for a long time to create this new creature to be their slaves, that they could utilize and manipulate whichever they wanted on Earth for their activities, whatever they were doing. Mostly mining, I guess, but also servants and slaves for other reasons, not just mining, for pretty much everything else.